So we finally have one here. The definitive lightsaber wielded by the one who will bring balance to the Force. Greetings, knowledge seekers, the Force is with you. My name is Priyon Joni and this is Lightsaber Culture. Today, we're going to be showing you Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber in full Profi 2.2 from NSABERS. I want to thank NSABERS for sending this to check out. Don't forget, if you want to get 7% off this saber, use my discount code PriyonJoni. You can also use the discount code on any saber from NSABERS. If you know who Anakin Skywalker is, then you know that this saber appears in several forms throughout all 3 Star Wars trilogies. This is the saber that Anakin used throughout the Clone Wars, defeat Count Dooku, turned to the dark side as Vader, slayed some younglings, and fought Obi-Wan in one of the most well-choreographed lightsaber duels of all time. In the lore, it was modified and passed down to Luke Skywalker by Obi-Wan.
A young Jedi named Darth Vader. He betrayed and murdered your father.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Because Episode 4 was actually the first Star Wars film released, this was actually the first time we've ever seen a lightsaber on screen. And it was originally designed from an old real-world Graflex flash gun used on old cameras. You'll often hear the saber referred to as the Graflex. Eventually, Luke lost his saber in a duel with Darth Vader along with his right hand. It was thought to be lost on Bespin, but it appeared to be recovered in the sequels.
Where'd you get that?
A good question. For another time.
A story we never found out about. In the sequels, long story short, it was wielded by Rey. It was then split in half, then repaired with some gaff tape. Then it was used to defeat the reincarnated Emperor Palpatine.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
With its final resting place buried in the sands of Tatooine. The lightsaber, in its original form, recently appeared in the Ahsoka series, which takes place in the time between the original and the sequel trilogies. Now, this isn't the physical saber itself, but a projection of the ascended and redeemed ghost of Anakin Skywalker. When Ahsoka wakes up in the alternate dimension known as the World Between Worlds, she's greeted by Anakin's Force Ghost and is using the saber to finish Ahsoka's training. We even get to see the hilt blade turned red, which is easy to do when we have a custom saber with a NeoPixel board. Now this saber is known as the Anakin from NSABERS. It comes in a lightweight RGB baselet for $379, NeoPixel for $479, or the top of the line Profi board for $589. And don't forget, you get 7% off with my discount code. So let's open this up. Now this comes with a pair of white gloves, and I'm gonna use it because this is a chrome hilt. I don't wanna get fingerprints all over it. And here is the hilt itself, right there. It definitely has some weight to it. It's 2 kilograms or 4.4 pounds. And I'm not 100% sure, but this hilt is a little thinner than my Darth Vader one. Let me know in the comments below if this is one of the ones that qualify as a skinny flex. We got the 6 wiper blade cutouts for the grip, the CoverTech screw for the belt clip, has the diamond wrench clamp right here where the control box is, and it does offer extra grip. There's actually 2 switches underneath the panel of the control box, and this switch doesn't really do anything. Same goes for these buttons, they're non-functional. So we'll put this down here for now. So we have our manual, and this manual covers everything from the RGB board to the NeoPixel board and the Profi. We have our blade plug, bring this out. We also have an alternate screen accurate pommel cap, so you can replace the pommel cap on the bottom. And just to show you what that means, you can either have the one with the speaker holes for the sound, or you can cover it cleanly so that it's more film accurate. We have 2 screws, an Allen key, and the USB A to C charging cable. Friendly reminder, don't use anything that is more than 5 volts, 1 amp when charging this, or you could fry the board. We have our acrylic display stand, and it's in a box this time. The NSABER badge for the stand. There's 2 extra strips of the wiper grip. And finally, a 32-inch NeoPixel blade, but it is actually skinnier than a standard NeoPixel blade. It's a 7/8" diameter. So this right here is everything it comes with. All right, so now let's examine the hilt a lot closer. So it comes with a Profi 2.2, but what's special about the board, the core specifically on this one, is that it is a quick release core. You can access it either by opening the grip and it comes out really easily right here. The other way to get it out is by opening the pommel cap on the bottom, which covers the speaker, and it exposes the core right there. And what's nice is there's this little handle where you can use just to pull it right out. So what's awesome about having a quick release core is that if you're out cosplaying, this makes battery changing a lot easier because you could just flip the battery and then put the core back. The other thing is it makes charging a lot easier because you can charge your core using the USB Type-C port. It's specifically just for charging. And you can still use your hilt for whatever you need it for, especially for just cosplaying with it. Now we have a lithium battery on one side, but we have the board on the other where you see a micro USB port where you can plug directly to your computer to access the Profi board. Now I'm gonna remove the battery real quick because on the other side, you can actually see the 32 gig SD card, which is accessible through here. What I would do is I would slide this out this way and then go back on the other side and then pull it out. It is a little finicky to access, but it prioritizes being able to just connect to the board using USB micro. Well, why would you want to connect it to your computer? That way you can customize your sound fonts, or if you dare, change the programming of the blade styles or the ignitions. Now, before I put the speaker pommel cap on, we're gonna put the display one on here. This makes it much more film accurate when you're out cosplaying or if you have it on display. Now the sound still actually works, just a little bit more muffled. In fact, some of the sound is coming out of the emitter, but let me cover it with the blade plug. So it still doesn't sound bad, even with the pommel covered, but it's definitely a lot quieter than when you're using this one where there are holes for the speaker. Now, the cool thing about the blade plug is that if you look right down there, there are LEDs on the NeoPixel connector that still light up the same color as the blade. And with the blade plug on, it has a more emitter style center. It looks a lot better than just having the LEDs exposed. So let's put the speaker cap back on. Now, one of the cool things here is that this emitter ring also can be screwed off. So you have this version of the Saber that's also possible. I know one of the early Disney Parks version of the Saber, this ring is actually what tightens the blade in place, but Disney discontinued those for the Legacy line. So like I said, this hilt is a little weighty. It's almost 4.5 pounds. And the key differences between this lightsaber, the Anakin Hero Saber, or Villain Saber, versus the version that was given to Luke Skywalker, the panel on the control box button is different. The switch or the switch guard on the side is different. And this pattern on the clamp, the original trilogy version actually has the original pattern from the Graflex Flash. The diamond grip was actually a redesign for Revenge of the Sith. The Luke Skywalker version doesn't have this CoverTech screw on it. It has a D-ring that allows you to hang it onto your belt clip instead of clicking it on with the CoverTech. And the Luke version has a screw on the bottom of each one of the grips. And just to keep in mind, even in the original trilogy, and sometimes within the same episode, the look of the saber sometimes changes around. That was really common in the original trilogy where the resolution of the film didn't really allow you to see the fine details until we started having HD and 4K versions of the original trilogy. Now let's place the blade on. Now, like I said, this is a 2-button design. There's actually 2 buttons under here. You can't really see it. But on a Profi, you can turn the saber on and off with the top button and then change the sound font on the bottom button. So I'm gonna find the Anakin sound font first. All right, we're on the Anakin font. Let's turn this on. Woo. It's a lot lighter than I expected. I expected this to be a pretty heavy lightsaber, but because this is a thin 7/8 inch diameter blade, it's actually a little lighter. Now the balance is a little different because normally I would grip it towards the emitter, but it makes this side feel light because it's heavier on this side. In fact, it wants to fall this way. So I have to hold it a little lower, closer to the grip, which makes sense why the grip is down here. And it also helps you grip with the diamond pattern right here. Or you can hold it low to get more power on your swing. Now, this is what's great about the 2-button system. One tap, turn it off. Another tap, turn it on. Changed my sound font with the bottom button. What's great with this system is that you don't have to hold it down to turn it off. And it still has also gesture controls. Now when we turn it on, we got blaster deflect. And the blade style has a really nice flicker. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a really realistic flicker to it. Now the hilt itself is made with aircraft grade aluminum, and they did say that this blade is dual ready. In fact, it's advertised as heavy dueling, but I would be a little careful with a thin blade like a 7/8 inch like this one. Now to change the colors, what we're gonna do is we're gonna tap both buttons and we're gonna twist to find the version of the lightsaber we see in the Ahsoka series. This is the lack conviction version of the lightsaber.
You lack conviction.
See, when Anakin showed his dark side to Ahsoka, his blade color actually turned red, and it was using this hilt. It was not the Darth Vader lightsaber, it was the Anakin lightsaber hilt with a red blade. And we really see the details of it when Ahsoka holds it right up to Anakin's head. Now, before we take this outside and spin it, please hit that subscribe button along with that bell icon so we can get this channel up and running as a YouTube partner. This way I can do more Saber demo videos for you guys. Now let's take this outside. Now, I initially expected it to be a little heavy to spin with, but it's really not because the blade is way lighter. What takes getting used to is just lowering your grip and the fact that the control box is a little bit in the way, so you can't get too intricate with your spinning. I wouldn't try doing any spin tosses with it. Once you get a comfortable grip, it's not that difficult to use. It's actually nice because it brings your hand closer to the grip portion where it doesn't slide around on your hand, because up here, it's a lot of chrome and it'll slide around, but where you really need to grip has a lot of places that keeps you nice and secure. Overall, while it's fun and capable of spinning, you're probably going to be using this more for cosplaying and displaying. It's way too nice of a lightsaber to be rough with, but you know what? That's totally up to you. Now, I don't recommend this for sports dueling. You could probably hurt somebody with this. It's not bad for choreography. You just have to be careful with the sharp corners of the control box. It's not gonna cut you, but it might be uncomfortable. But if you're taking lightsaber spinning and dueling more seriously, NSABERS has a variety of different stunt sabers that are more smooth, and they're also really affordable. So don't forget, you get 7% off with my discount code. So if you want to see another lightsaber from the Ahsoka series, check out my video of Sabine Wren's lightsaber right here. And if you want to see a recap of the best Star Wars vacation of my life at the recently decommissioned Galactic Star Cruiser, follow this video right here. May the stars light your way and the Force be with you always.